Hello, voiceover insiders. Julie Williams here, and I've got a special guest today. So excited to have Randall Ryan here. And the reason I've got him here is because I want to have him give you a couple of tips about video game acting and tell you about an event that's coming up. So, Randall, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. This is lovely. I'm out in Los Angeles right now. I'm not always in Los Angeles, but I am right now. I've been out here working on a project which wrapped 2 days ago.
Yeah, you've been working on that for a long time.
Yeah. It was
Like
basically a month. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You've been out there for about a month. Well, that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
So people are excited to come to this webinar because they're going to learn from, not to call you a horse, of course, but the horse's mouth, the person that can actually hire people, how to get hired and what techniques, you're going to be critiquing people, the VIP people. Now, I need to let you know that only 12 people are able to be on and read live for Randall and be critiqued because we only have so much time. So that'll be the VIP, but you don't have to do that to sign up. You can be a fly on the wall by being an auditor. And the links below, by the way, that are scrolling across your screen, those are the 2 links for you to go to if you want to sign up as a VIP or an auditor. But I'll let you know in the description below, the link should also be there as well. Mm-hmm. So tell us, what can we expect when we're nervous and we get there to read for you for the first time? What's going to go on?
First of all, we're going to try to quell the nerves because it's just, first of all, it's a workshop, where you're not in the middle of a casting, you're not in the middle of it's learning. It's no different, in some ways than going to any classroom kind of environment. The pressure should really, truly, the pressure should really be off because this is not, and everybody likes to think about things like this. You're not really auditioning for me, right? We're just working on stuff. And so much of it is not only what you do while you read, which is massively important and gives a totally different feel than watching what other people do, but it's also then, of course, watching what the other people do. And I think the difference is when you read, even watching the other people is different because you kind of know what you went through, what your feelings were, what the thought process is, how you absorbed information. And then you watch how somebody else, even if it's a different character, a different role, kind of deals with the same thing. So I think the learning is just a little bit, I think it's different. I think it's deeper. I think it's more personal. But what I don't want people to do is to come in thinking, oh my God, I got to do this thing and it's got to be brilliant. And that's, it's like, actually, no, it really isn't. That's not what it is all about. What it is about in a lot of cases, especially for people who have not done a lot of video game work, but but they've been working in any other medium. Let's say you've been doing audiobooks or you've been doing commercials. So you know how to do you know how to work a mic, you know how to deal with your booth, you know how to do all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. This is just a different genre. And part of what I really want to get across with video game teaching is, of course, it's getting involved in video games.
Right.
But video games now are the style, the things that are necessary to do video games well are really driving virtually every other aspect of voiceover, and even to some degree writing and acting, even in other genres. And I could talk about that all day and burn your whole time. But those principles, even if you are only thinking like, I might want to go into video games, truthfully, even if your thought is, I don't see a path for me in video games, the skills that you learn in video game acting, I liken it to something like improv or singing or whatever. I'm not going to be a singer. I'm not going to be a stand-up comedian. However, how much that helps you as a voice actor. I'm not going to say that learning commercial doesn't help you in video game,
right?
But I think but that's a very small learn, where learning video game acting is a big learn when you take it back to commercial. And the reasons for that are because what's happened with video games, it's not even recently anymore. It's just endemic. There's such a focus on realism. There's just by nature, there is a need for versatility, for being able to do multiple voices and being able to, it's not your voice print. yes, your voice print is crucial. But it's what else can you do with that voice print? Sometimes it's because it's multiple characters. Sometimes it's because you need to explore this different aspect of yourself and what your voice will do. Um, and nothing teaches that the way that video games do, because it's now closer to film acting. It's
Mhm.
got elements of theater. It's Yes, there are two-dimensional characters in video games, but they are farther and fewer between than they ever were. They now tend to be very three-dimensional. You don't just have heroes who are just heroes. You have heroes who are complicated, who might be flawed, who
Mm.
have and being able to find those aspects of and pull it out in your performance. I mean, think about if you can do that. Think about going to a commercial read, for instance, and now you have to read this stilted copy, but but I understand why they have to say it. You have to say the sale is, this weekend. You have to say what it's going to be, and you try to make this sound conversational. Well, if you can find that intention to be that person, and it's not just about making these words roll out of your mouth as if you would actually say them, although that is a skill too. It's actually being able to put yourself in that position and learning how you can mold this character. I know it's a 30-second spot, but if you can work yourself into character and do that at the drop of a hat, um, and give people things that they don't even expect that they're going to get. Wow, that's really powerful, and that's how you get booked a lot. Um,
When somebody's doing a video game voice at the session, do they have to hop from character one to character two to character three, or are they doing all of character one, all of character two, and it gets pieced together?
yeah, it's the latter. If you're doing multiple characters, you're never going to. It's not like audiobooks where you're just reading as the narrator, and then you have to go to the voice, and then you have to go to the other voice.
Right.
Um, Really, from an acting perspective, even if you could do that, even if that's a skill you possess, part of the reason I would never do that, and I don't think anybody would, is because you don't want the actor to be bouncing from character to character. You want them to invest in, cloak themselves in that character and become that character. And so to do
Right.
that, um, even when we have, well, there's very little ensemble in video game. We could talk about that for days too, as to why and why not and all. But it's just you'd take it as a given that right now that there's just not. Um, so the ensemble usually in my sessions becomes I play the other roles or the role. And even though I'm not an actor, I can usually give you setups and things to make you react. And so that becomes the game on my end, is that you, the actor, need to be so invested in this character that when I give you a different read, that you react to it in character. You don't think about it. You don't try to, ooh, what is he looking for here? It's like, no, just like in real life, you don't have scripts in real life. And if I come to you and I say, hey, Julie, what are you doing? Your reaction, what you're doing doesn't change in any of these. Your reaction is going to be very different than I say, Julie, what are you doing? Which is
Yeah.
going to be very different than I say, Julie, what are you doing? I mean, they're just even take those simple phrases, right? But you
Yeah.
don't think how you react to it. All the time you're baking a pie, right? And your reaction to doing the exact same thing will be different based on that setup. But the reason you do it is because it's you, and you don't have to think about what am I. That's the investment that you need to be in that character. And so when you can, and I don't care if it's a minor role, if you are shopkeeper number 3, the people who work all the time and the people who really have careers, whether in video game or anything else, are the ones that come in as like, by God, for these 12 lines, I am shopkeeper number 3. And they find their way to get into that. So really, in a lot of ways, that's what we're going to try to do. Now, in 3 hours, you can only do so much, right?
Right.
So there are multiple ways that I work with this. But what we're going to do here is we're going to in essence, kind of mimic the process a little bit. So, so while actors will have access to a bunch of scripts, there are going to be too many for them to comb through everything. You want to try to comb through it, have at it, But we're going to kind of talk at the front end with everybody and just get, even if it's just a sketchy, if I can get just even a sketchy bio of what this person is like and what they do. And then I'm going to pull a script out and we're going to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Which, if you think about it, is very much like how auditions come in. And of course, this is not a video game. This is just period. Hey, your agent or your casting director or somebody sends you a script and they say something ridiculous like, can you get this back to me in 2 hours? Now, usually that doesn't happen with what I do, but it's still, there's the script, you've never seen it, and now you're supposed to audition for it.
Right.
So how do you get into that character really quickly, and what are the things you do? So that's really the aspect that we're going to focus on, because A, that is what will net you jobs. And B, it's just, I don't care if you've already invested yourself in this character. When you walk into that session in that studio, in essence, it's still the same process. You still have to know what that character is, and you still have to be able to just almost like, pull that on, put that character on, and now that's what you are. And I think the other misconception that people still have about video games is even when I say character, it is not about caricature. It is not about. The game I was working on was a military game.
Okay.
And based on a real story, so absolutely grounded in realism.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that that I had to work with some people, and some of these people were extremely good actors. But there were people who would come in and they were thinking like, I have to adopt my military voice. It's like, actually, no. Yes, it's military. Yes, it has, but what you have to adopt is your character. You can't fall back necessarily on techniques. Oh, I'm going to breathe here and I'm going to have this commanding thing. It's like, yeah, you do, but you have to believe it and you have to be invested in it, as opposed to I'm performing it.
Right.
And that's, it's a different mentality. It really is.
I can hear it's so different from what I do with mostly the e-learning, the medical e-learning. We do rely a lot on technique, but that's really just foundation when you're learning. Once you get out there, it just kind of flows. It happens. You're in the moment. It happens. But we're talking to Randall Ryan right now because we've got a class coming up September 13th, a 3-hour class, really exciting, on the internet. So wherever you are, you can attend. Now, 12 lucky people who decide to become VIPs, and you want to hurry up and sign up for this if you want it, because we might end up with a waiting list. Okay. 12 lucky people, VIPs, will get to perform with Randall and have him critique you and be on live. And you will also get a free prospect list, $100 value of 50 video game producers. And then if you do not want to be, you're a little shy, you don't want to be on live, you just want to kind of scope it out, you can be an auditor, and that's $50. VIP is $199. Auditor is $50. And then if you decide you want to buy the prospect list, then you can get that for $100 after the webinar. We'll have that for you. So the links are below where you sign up. Randall Ryan Web VIP and Randall Ryan Web Auditor. As you see, scrolling across the screen and probably below as well. If you are a VIP, we're going to send you the scripts in advance when you sign up. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so. That all sounds right to me.
Well, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments. Actually, we've got a couple of comments here I didn't see. Okay.
I don't see comments. It must be your thing. Oh, I see. There's a comments thing. Well, I'll let you read them anyway.
What's the pay like these days? AFTRA?
Well, sadly, AFTRA, that's a whole different conversation. AFTRA has been swallowed up and basically is no more. Well, first of all, there are a couple of different things. There are union rates and there are non-union rates. I believe this month, next month, it's coming up pretty fast that there is a new bargaining opening up for the old SAG-AFTRA agreement is ending, and the new one is being negotiated. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what things are, but right now scale it's like $967. It's around $950. That's a maximum of a 4-hour session, and God forbid you don't want a 4-hour session. I never do a 4-hour session, but some people do, and up to 3 characters. There are some special rules there if it's going to be stressful VO, like the game that we just did. We limited everybody to 2 hours, and we took lots of breaks because it's the den of war. Even if the way I would set actors up would be things like, so even if it's something innocuous, you have to talk like this. Hey, I'm going to run down to the corner store and get a loaf of bread. Can I get you anything? It's like, so even if it was nothing, like you're not getting shot at or whatever, it's like everything with minor exceptions had to be like that. So for those sessions, we're going to limit how much people are in the booth. We're going to take, much more frequent breaks. How are you feeling? I feel great. Excellent. While you're still feeling great, we're going to take a break anyway, so I just kind of run the sessions like that.
Yeah.
We're not going to wait till you're stressed, because then you're already doing damage. And some people, of course, are, have different capacities for breathing and everything else. And you can kind of hear that a little bit. But generally I would say most sessions run anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. That's your scale pay. Non-union things can be all over the map, as non-union is. Again, I tend to work a little bit differently. Even when doing non-union, I use scale as a guideline. I often try to get non-union jobs to pay actors over scale, because they're not getting the kickbacks into health insurance, and unemployment, and some other things. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. But I really, personally, I just don't even get involved with the low-paying gigs.
Right.
And a lot of that is because, when there are that rare exception of things that it's a project that I believe in or that I want to do, but there isn't actually money, then if I'm going to actors, they know that I'm not pulling their leg, because it's like, well, Randy always sends me these jobs. So I'm like, look, I got $500. They know that they know that that's really what we have in the budget. And usually they're willing to do it.
And I would do that for my clients, for my regular clients. I've done it for $150 for my regular clients.
Yeah.
I've done a short half page for free for the regular clients at times.
Yeah.
You just do that.
Yeah, you just do that because you know that they're not lying to you, and that they're good, and that they have your back.
Right.
And so to me, it's very important for actors to know that I have their back. And that's part of it too. But the pay in video games, one of the people that I worked with in this last game, he's a fairly he's not fairly well known. He's an extremely well known voice actor. And you get paid $20,000. That's not the norm, but it does happen. Cobra Kai is now out, so I can now talk about that. I mean, the actors that worked on Cobra Kai, the scale actors got scale, but we had a lot of people who were making double scale, triple scale, and then some of the well-known people certainly got contracts that were well in excess of that. Now, granted, they're celebrities; they're coming from TV and film,
right?
But still, and I don't want to tell people like, oh, you can make a ton of money in there. It's in some ways it's no different than any other industry, right? Sure, there are the commercial gigs. You get the national commercial. My God, that can buy you a home. There aren't a lot of them.
Not anymore.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of them go to celebrities now. But even if they are available, there aren't a lot of them. You tend to make your money by working regularly for things that are at I think the thing that I always think about when I talk about career is you want to find the things that do pay you reasonably well. To me, we'll just round it off at $1,000. If you can make $1,000 a pop for doing video game work, you can make a career out of that. You can actually make a very nice career. It's a lot easier to do that than to go and you're doing a gig that's going to pay you $40 an hour.
Oh,
there are a lot of things like anime that they have rates like that, and
really,
yeah, and it's like I got it. It's a gig, and it can be a regular gig, but even if you're working all the time, that's a lot of that's a harder way to make a living.
That is.
So, you got to be careful. This isn't just video game. This is just, this is career talk now that we're moving into, which has nothing to do with our workshop. But to me, that's how you build a career, is you find the things that are actually sustainable. Hey, if I replicated this over and over and over, can I actually make a living? And so that's the one thing that I will say with video games is that, yes, you can make a very nice living in video games. It is work. It's like it is no different than any other genre. To be one of those go-to people takes work. I always figure it's a 2-year commitment for almost anything. There seems to be something about that 2 years. I want to become a full-time voice actor. Great. Work your butt off for 2 solid years. And that doesn't mean work at it on the side. That means like for 2 years, it's almost like the 10,000 hour thing to learn a skill.
Yeah.
Like you can take that 2 years and you can stretch it out into 10 if you want, but it's going to take you 2 years worth of work to get that. And so the sooner you do it, the better. And yes, you have to have a certain minimum level of skill and all that other kind of stuff. But really, even if you are this amazingly talented person, for most people, it's going to take 2 years because you got to get to know people and people have to get to know you and you still have to prove yourself and all blah, 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 blah. It's all of that.
Right. My bread and butter is e-learning, and that's repeat clients. It's clients at big companies that have 6 producers, and they use me over and over, and much more than all my agents put together give me, the repeat clients. And then they have to update the program 2 years later, and they need you for that. And, you get into it and then build that repeat clientele.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's another question. If a voice actor creates a character, does he or she have the legal right to keep that character, or does it belong to the producer?
Well, I would say that good luck if you want to keep it. No, that'll never happen any more than Johnny Depp can go out and license Captain Jack Sparrow on his own. He created it; it's his baby. It is not his character. That is just true, just in general. You want to create your own character and create the rights to it, go make your own game. Look, really, it's you are there to act. You are not coming with product. You are coming with skill. So you get to keep the skill. You can still use all the muses of that character. You will find situations where, because it's promo to the game, that I know a bunch of people who do things for League of Legends, and they are allowed to go out and, some of this is because they do work at cons, but also they are allowed to go out and voice things with approval as that character, and none of it comes back to Riot. It's all, they get to keep whatever it is, but the way that Riot looks at it, and not everybody is this way, is like, well, this is helping promote the game. Just make sure you mention League of Legends, make sure you do all that, I don't remember the names of the characters, but hi, this is Orc from League of Legends, you're doing it in your own voice and all. So you will have people who allow you to do that and make some money on it, but no, you will. I cannot think of a single situation where you will ever own the rights to that.
Thank you for being here with us today. We really appreciate you, and we would like you to be with us again on September 13th. We've got a 3-hour class with Randall Ryan to go over this and a lot more, and that will be coming up between 6 and 9 Central Time on September 13th. And you can sign up at the links below. It's either the links that are rolling across your screen or at the link that is written in the description below, for whether you want to be a VIP or whether you want to be an auditor for this. Randall, you are so informative. I love talking to you.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks. I just spout what I know, and hopefully it resonates somewhere, right? So
yeah, I learned a lot. I don't do videos. I learned a lot about them.
That's good.
Because the last time you did a long class for me, I was in bed sick.
Yes, you were.
And our producer was the one so I didn't even sit in on that one. So I'm looking forward to this one, all the things that we're going to get to learn.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. I figured you were just watching it in bed, like, screen on. Like,
no,
I'm not going to be on camera, but I'll listen.
I was thinking, nope, Jay's got it under control. I'm going to sleep. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you there September 13th.
Sounds great.